Back to the Calibrate Tools and DIY channel. Glad you guys could make it today. We broadcast every Tuesday at 7 p.m. PST, that's Pacific Standard Time. Hey, what's up, Perry Girl Life Notes? Hey, guys, by the way, I acknowledge anybody who comes in the chat right away. I don't wait for like 30 minutes to start talking to people in the chat. It's all about interacting, okay? That's what my lives are about. I'm not here to give you a lecture and not have you involved, okay? So Perry Girl Life Notes, what's up? I appreciate you. Calibrate Tools guy. That's me. Calibrate Tools and DIY. You know, we're dedicated to teaching you about home improvement tools. It's all about tools and learning how to use them. Okay. But we also promote trade skills, okay? Because believe it or not, I did not just create this platform just to talk about tools, okay, and show you how to use them. Yeah, that's a big part of the platform. But the live section, like right now, tonight, and every Tuesday night, we touch on all kinds of subjects related to, home improvements, tools, trades, okay? We touch on things that are, ancillary or, that have an effect in the community when it comes to trade skills and the community at large, okay? So that's what this topic tonight's going to be about, all right? It says, don't throw away your future. Do not throw away your future, guys, because it's easy to do that. I mean, it's easy to get in the mess, but it's so hard to get out of it, right? That's just how it is. It's easy to fall down, but it's hard to get up sometimes, right? And you know, I work at a trade school per se. Teach people how to weld and stuff, and a lot of the demographic that come through the school are people that come from harsher circumstances, um, and coming out of incarceration, sometimes homeless, or just down on their luck, or just don't have a lot going for them, and we end up giving them a skill. And I literally see people change their lives in a matter of weeks, sometimes days after they get certified um, in welding. Okay, and that's the beautiful thing about what I do. Okay, um, and it's the future just opens up for them. I've seen grown men, uh, uh, young men, grown men, whatever you want to call them, shed tears and talk about, hey, nobody in my family ever respected me, um, and all that kind of stuff. And so it's like a new birth for them. You know what I mean? And it's great to see, right, that they can go out there and go from one state in their lives to another another state just by sticking it out, and it doesn't take forever at all. I mean, you're talking about a month's time. We're not talking about months on end. We're not even talking about a year. We're not talking about 6 months, 3 months. We're talking about a month, right? And all because they stuck it out and they did not give up, and they said, okay, I'm going to learn this skill. I'm not going to give up. And they do. The ones that stick it out, they do, right? And they go on to either get a job that they haven't, pays them more than they ever got paid before, or are they doing it the right way, the legal way, right? And not to say that everybody that comes through there comes from doing illegal things or criminal past, anything like that. But a few of them do, right? A few of them do, and this is like one of the opportunities that they have to really better themselves. And it's great to see the ones that do take advantage of it, and it's great to see them take off in life. So that's what I do. That's what I do you know, during the a good portion of my day, and yeah. But unfortunately, though, every now and then something happens where either someone falls off or they stop coming. Um, for whatever reason, they just give up. Right? They just give up, or it could be any circumstance. It could be extenuating circumstances having to do with family, having to do with all manner of things. But fortunately, that's not the majority of them, right? And you can only you know uh, pray for the ones that don't return. Maybe they found something better, but hopefully they did. Okay, but I want to talk about tonight, um, pretty much based on what the title says. Don't throw away a good opportunity when it comes by. Don't throw away your future, right? It's easy to do that. I mean, uh, I remember when I was coming up, these things weren't even available to me. Right? They were not available at all. I didn't have the internet. I didn't have trade schools. I didn't have none of that. Um, so the things that are available to the youth today, I mean, it's like, wow, it's just amazing the things that you have at your fingertips. But um, you know, you take things for granted, right? You take things for granted, and until they're gone, right? You don't know what you have until it's gone, pretty much, right? And um, I'm just on this live tonight. I just want to stress, hey, look, you don't know what you have until it's gone. Okay, so if you have an opportunity in front of you, right, it doesn't have to feel good. You may not even want to do it, but if you have the ability to think long term, which is what I stress, if you have the ability to think past tomorrow, past the next 6 months, past the next year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years into the future, that is one of the greatest abilities that you could have as a human being, is being able to think long term and see where you want to be, right? Or at least know where you do not want to be, right? And all you got to do is look around. Is I mean, millions of examples of where you don't want to be in this world, right? And so, what you should do is develop that ability to think long term and see where you want to be. Okay, that's going to help you out a lot. Um, so, I really want to direct this live to my African American brothers and sisters, um, who seem to have some of the most uh, uh, potent struggles out there. Not that anybody else doesn't have these struggles, but this is the community I'm talking about. I'm addressing anybody who can relate, but especially my African American brothers and sisters um, that have to deal with certain things that others do not have to deal with as intensely, right? I just want you to know that I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you right now. There are traps set for you to not make it, right? There are traps out there set for you to not make it. Straight and plain, okay? And they're all over the place, okay? And especially in today's society, the internet is a great thing. It's a great tool. I'm on it right now. I'm using it right now. But what am I using it for? I'm not using it to just waste time. I'm using it to reach people, to reach an audience, to build an audience and promote what I do. That's what I'm using it for, right? But unfortunately, a lot of us are using it for nothing else but foolishness, distractions, and it can be the biggest time suck ever in your life, right? It's almost like a drug if you use it for the wrong things. I mean, you pick up your phone, you're scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. Next thing you look up is 8, 10 hours, or 3 hours, 4 hours gone by just on the internet, just looking at stuff, not getting anything done. And um, that can be very dangerous to your future as well, right? So it's not just about being in a car accident, or you know maybe somebody's trying to take you out or anything like that. It's just the little things that can be very harmful to your future if you're not careful. Distractions, procrastination, all that stuff, they add up, and next thing you know, you look up, you're at a certain age and you didn't get anything accomplished in your life, right? That's not a good feeling. Very Good Life knows. Our system in the U.S. does have problems that give you more than one chance, but the programs really need a portion to help them navigate the other factors as to try to improve the situation. Yes, Very Good Life knows. The program that I'm involved with, nonprofit, we help to teach people how to weld and stuff like that, train them and get them certified and get them out in the world. We do provide job placement, job placement opportunities, and we have gotten people jobs, which is a good thing. But it's up to the student to go out there and be proactive and search for their own employment, or uh, maybe even start their own enterprise and use the skills they have to build their own business or build their own thing. So that's what we do there as well. But Perry Good Life Notes is right. A lot of people that come through the program they're coming with a lot of baggage, and we all have baggage to some degree. But they're coming with a lot of baggage, man. A lot of hurt people out there, right? A lot of hurt people come through there, and sometimes you end up being a counselor not just a teacher teaching them how to weld, but you end up being a counselor as well. You're hearing about their life and everything that they had to go through and all this. It's a lot of it's some hard stuff to deal with. Um, so coming there is kind of like a refuge for them, right? From everything that they have to deal with outside of that, right? Uh, and that's one of the good things about it too. I get to kind of get to know the students, at least some of the students, the ones that are willing to open up, or the ones that you sense need more help than others in those areas, and you can do your part to help to steer them in the right direction. Okay, you can do your part to help to steer them in the right direction, and it's up to them to take advantage of that as well. Um, but I do want to stress though that when it comes to uh, relations with others, right, it's very important. Listen to me, young brothers and sisters out there. You got to be able to control your emotions, okay? Because that's one of the biggest traps. That's one of the biggest traps that is set for you to not make it in this society. Okay, so I'm talking to my brothers and sisters out here. Uh, if you're not able to control your emotions, you're pretty much done. Okay, you're pretty much done. That's the first thing you have to learn how to control. Okay, recently in the class we had two students that had got into an altercation, and unfortunately, it kind of got physical. Kind of got physical. Uh, it was de-escalated, fortunately, right? But um, both of those students could have been kicked out of the program, right? Both of those they could have been kicked out of the program and lost out on a great opportunity to get a skill as a welder and work their way up in that field and really and be able to provide for their family. Fortunately, they were able to stay in the program. But the reason that happens is because of lack of control of your emotions, right? Lack of control of your emotions um, will get you in so much trouble. Get you in so much trouble. Someone can say something offensive to you, right? And then if you don't have any control, you pretty much lose it and you do something that you regret. So easy, just like that. And everything, you lose everything. I mean, we see it happen in society, right? We see it happen with celebrities that say something that's not politically correct or anything like that. But a lot of times those guys, those celebrities, they can afford that, right? They can afford that. You as a young African American man or woman, right? In a society that already labels you, already pigeonholes you as a threat, as a nobody, as a criminal, you cannot afford to have a lack of control of your emotions at all times. You have to be extra vigilant. What I mean by that is you have to be like a hawk, like you know how an eagle can see things coming. Like in other words, you have to be so alert about your own emotions because you will face it. You will be tested out there by people. All right, you will be tested by your own family, by your own community, by other communities. You will be tested by it. Okay, you will be tested by the racism that awaits you out here in this world. Okay, and if you're not strong enough, smart enough to be able to think long term, that trap, those traps that I just said, tests that will come to you. Um, it's not just a test you can pass and fail, and then go to school the next day. Some of those tests will mean your life, will mean your freedom. If you look at my background picture right there, you'll see a man in handcuffs. That could be you, man. Just by not thinking it over. Is it worth it? Is it worth it to let someone's words, someone's actions uh, cause you to do something that will jeopardize your freedom, right? Jeopardize your freedom. And if it's not just about you, it's about your family, it's about your community, right? You sitting in jail for 30 days, 6 months, 2 years, whatever, 10 years, how's that going to help your community? It will not help your community, right? Um, what it will do is help the system that feeds on people that have no control of their emotions. They need people like that. That they need the system needs people that have no control of their emotions in order to function. Very good life notes. This is imperative, but they are usually unaware of the strategies necessary to choose freedom every time. And she's right about that. Very good life notes is right about that. A lot of it happens out of ignorance. It happens out of ignorance, and unfortunately, they want to keep you ignorant, right? They want to keep you ignorant. Lack of education, right? Lack of education, not just book learning, but actual people skills. And the African American community has to have a certain special set of people skills, not just a regular set of people skills for everybody else, right? Because we have to deal with certain environments, namely the United States. And you can say, "Oh, well, I'm getting political or not," but this is the truth. All you got to do is turn on the news and see the warfare that's being waged on African Americans in the media. And you say, "Well, oh yeah, it's their fault." Well, no, you have a media machine that deliberately pumps out negative images of African Americans. Okay, all the time, constantly tuning the fork to make sure that this image is perpetuated throughout society, and the media is the biggest tool to do that. One of my goals in having this channel is to change that narrative in whatever little way I can, right? I appreciate the amount of subscribers I have, but it's not just about me talking about tools, man. My life is not just about tools and all that stuff. It's about what I'm talking about right now, changing the narrative, right? That's what this channel is about, changing the narrative, okay? And opening the eyes of my community to say, listen, you don't have to be this. You don't have to be that. You don't have to be a basketball player. Quit trying to be a rapper. Quit trying to be an athlete. Learn a skill. We need builders in the community. We need engineers. We need mathematicians. We need accountants. We need all that stuff. We need, all the stuff that you think is not cool or cool to be. Right? We need IT professionals, computer programmers. We need welders. We need general contractors. I mean, that's what we need. But yet, you're fed a diet of rappers and athletes all day long, and that's all you can talk about. Claudette McCoy. Hey, Claudette. How you doing? Glad to see you here. Paragon Life knows this is imperative, but they are usually unaware of the strategy necessary to choose freedom every time. Yes. And Claudette says, we need to be in positions of power. Absolutely, Claudette. We need to be in positions of power. And the whole concept of power, that's what it's all about at the end of the day, right? If we don't, and power comes with ownership. But if you don't own anything, then how could you have power, right? You're always going to the one that owns the thing to get what you need, but you yourself don't have ownership. And we know the history of that. We know that we had land and we had so many things, right, that were stolen from our community, right? And we constantly having to rebuild. And it seems that now, it's all about distractions, right? It's all about distractions and not being able to stay the course and actually stick it through, right? Whatever it is, right? So I see some of these students come through there and the class through the school, and they're really struggling with a lot of things, no father, mother not there. We've heard it. We've heard it a million times. And It's sad to hear, right? It's sad to hear. And I could only do so much. But I figured, hey, listen, this, I have a platform on YouTube. It's not a big platform yet, but it's a platform nonetheless. And I feel it's my obligation to bring some of these issues to the fore, you know, now that I have a platform, right, to address my community. And anyone who's willing to listen, you don't have to be a part of the African American community to empathize with what I'm talking about, right? And if you don't empathize, then maybe, you don't need to be watching my channel. But hey, to each his own. But I do have an obligation, I feel, to address these issues on my platform every now and then. I'm not going to hit you over the head with it at every live I come on every time, but every now and then. Why? Because I experience this. I see it. I see what's going on, and I think about it a lot, and I feel that maybe if I talk about it it can reach somebody. If I reach one person out there where it can change their mind on something in a more positive direction, hey, listen, control your emotions. Don't do that, man. You could end up like that guy behind me on the background picture right there. So easy to do that. It's so easy to go there, man. I'm going to read a couple of statistics to you guys that may make you think a little bit. For instance, here's one. African Americans, Black Americans are incarcerated in state prisons at nearly 5 times the rate of Caucasian Americans, white Americans. There's something wrong with that picture, guys. Those of you who have been there behind the walls, the prison or whatever jail, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, it's all you gotta do is look around and you see everybody from the neighborhood. Right? At least that's what I heard. Says nationally, 1 in 81 Black adults in the U.S. is serving time in state prison. 1 in 81, guys. So it's almost like a rite of passage to go there, right? It's like a rite of passage, unfortunately, for you to go in certain communities to go to jail and all that stuff, right? But why? Why? That's the question. Why? I mean, unfortunately, the system was set up that way, right? It was set up that way. Yeah. Yes, so true. All facts, sad truth. Yes, says Claudette. Absolutely. All right. It was set up that way. And a lot of people don't want to admit that this system, of mass incarceration can only, it only runs off the bodies of African Americans and a good portion of the Hispanic community. But African Americans are the majority of people incarcerated in United States prisons. In 12 states, more than half the prison population, that's more than 50% of the prison population in certain states, are African Americans, Black. By the way, the term Black is a legal status, just like white is. Okay. Alabama, Delaware, Georgia, Illinois, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, Michigan, New Jersey, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Okay. More than half of that means that more than half of all African Americans born in that state or that were born in that state are in prison. So they're coming out of their mother's womb destined to be locked up in a prison. But yeah, nobody wants to talk about that and the reasons why that is. Okay, we can get into those, but I don't want to dive too deep into it. What I want, the goal of this is to not just shove statistics down your throat. Hopefully it does make you wake up a little bit. But the goal is to be able to avoid that, right? If you hear the sound of my voice, I want you to avoid this for yourself. Okay? You don't need to be there. All you got to do is make certain decisions and say no. Okay? All you have to do is say no to if you want to do something to somebody, if you want to go get that fast money. No, just Learn a skill, man. Learn a skill. Pick up those tools. Go to school. Become a computer programmer or coder or something like that. You got a brain here. You got a brain. Use it wisely. We got, in prison they got so many geniuses, right? You talk about these drug dealers and all this and that. These are smart guys. These are businessmen, but they decided to conduct business in a way that eventually will take away their freedom and take them away from their families. Take them away from their children, take their wives, and their wives have to turn into the man of the family, right? To take, that's the plan, to destroy the family. Okay, destroy the family. That was the plan. That was the number one plan when African Americans came to this country as enslaved human beings. Break up the family at all costs. Right? Laws were passed where you couldn't even stand in a group with another person of your community. That was against the law to have 2 or 3 black men standing together just talking. That's a threat to them. Okay. This mentality still persists today. It still persists in these good old United States, and you have to be aware. You have to be aware how you carry yourself. Unfortunately, that's what we have to do, right? Very Good Life Notes. Fast hustle is very destructive. Well, yeah, it is very destructive. And if it was designed for you to get the fast money, right? Because if you can't go out there and get a job because of discrimination, you still got to feed yourself. You still got to feed your family. So they already know that you're going to go out there and get the fast money. They already know that you're going to be the biggest drug dealer in town, because they set it up for you to do that, right? Because at the end of that road, they're going to let you have your fun, but then they're going to take all your freedom away. Take all your freedom away. You can't get that back. You can get money back, but you can't get time back, right? You can't get time back, right? So I get it. A lot of you don't want to go to a job and be just have to deal with certain individuals. I get that. That's why it comes back to being in a position of power, like Claudette just mentioned. Ownership. Okay, when you go out there and learn a skill, don't just learn that skill to build up someone else's enterprise, especially if they're not of your community. Learn that skill to take it and bring it back to your own community and get people of like mind to, build something that you own, right? Something that we own, something that we can hire our own children, and they can hire their own children, and so on and so forth. Okay. You cannot have a successful, thriving community again like we used to have but it was destroyed, right? We cannot build that again by giving, okay, a society that never respected us in the first place all of our hard-earned labor. Okay, we did that already, right? It's time to own our own. Okay, so your kids won't have to go out there and get the fast money, or you won't feel like you have to go out there and get the fast money because someone else doesn't want to hire you because of their racist ideas, right? So yeah, let me read a couple more statistics here. Black youth are more than 4 times as likely to be detained or committed in juvenile facilities as their white peers, according to nationwide data collected in 2019. That's just a couple of years ago. Okay. Now, some of these percentages have fallen over time, guys. Like in some states, it's kind of decreased, but the disparity is still there. So they're coming after your sons and daughters from the time they come out of the womb. Okay. From the time they come out of the womb, they're in juvenile detention center or something like that, preparing them to serve time in a more adult facility, a prison, you know, it's slavery has not gone away in that respect. If you have, once again, I just said, in certain states, more than half of the African American population is incarcerated in certain states. Sounds like slavery to me still. I don't know what you guys think. Yeah. So you're telling me that the African American population, half of the African American population are criminals? Is that what you're telling me? Because that's pretty much what that statistics is telling me right there. That you have said, a judge has slammed their gavel and said, half of the African American population of criminals, ship them to prison. Claudette, the criminal justice system is designed for us to fail. Yeah, that's what it's there for. That's what it's there for. So once again, you can't tell me that you've decided, your so-called justice system has decided that half of the African American population are criminals, and you're going to ship them off to jail. But it's living proof right there that, if like I said, certain states, that's the case. That's the case, right? And you do everything you can to justify that in the media, right? You do everything you can to justify these statistics in the media. And unfortunately, some of us, our community, we portray in the media, we portray, hey man, go play a criminal for us. Go do this, go do that, and go play a thug for us. Not knowing the effects that doing that can have on our community. Certain communities won't even do that because they got respect for themselves. But when you're in a position of poverty, you kind of do anything. I'll tell you a quick story. When I was a kid, I fell out of a tree when I was a kid, and I had to go to the hospital and all that. And later on in my life, I recovered. Obviously, I'm still here, right? Later on in my life, though, I did have issues with, being impulsive. And then I did the research a few years ago. I don't know what made me do it, but I did the research on what happens if you have impacts to your head, right? I think I did get a concussion at the time, but there's something called the prefrontal cortex of the brain, okay, or the frontal lobe. It's responsible for long-term thinking, long-term planning. And sometimes I think, hey man, did my prefrontal cortex get damaged? Maybe that's why I did certain things I did in my life. But that's because I fell out of a tree, right? And I had a concussion. But did you know that poverty affects the prefrontal cortex as well? That part of the brain that's responsible for long-term thinking, long-term planning. Okay. Yes, poverty does affect that. And who knows what else it affects. But according to studies, and sometimes I'm kind of iffy on these studies as well, but it says that, poverty affects the brain of kids, of children. And why is that? The stress of being poor, okay, quote unquote poor. The stress, the exposure to the toxins in poor, lower income areas. There, toxins and stuff. It's not as regulated, so exposure to that, exposure to toxins, or lack of nutrition. Having to scrape by on government issued food and stuff like that. Very low nutrition laden food. Whereas higher status families, they don't have to deal with that. So their prefrontal cortexes or frontal lobes are more developed, according to the studies. Okay. And not only that, they have if you live in a higher status family, you're catered to more. Your children are Well, at least they're supposed to be catered to more. I know the schools are better. That's for sure. Okay, the schools are better. They got more what they call cognitive stimulation, right? They stimulate the brain with, like, if you go to some of these schools in higher income areas, it'll blow your mind the resources that these kids have. I mean, they're learning to code in junior high, probably elementary school, code, right? Program computer. I mean, all kinds of things that are available to them that if you go to a lower income area, it's like a desert, right? These resources are not available at all. Then you wonder why, when you see the disparities in wealth, right? When these kids get older and you see the choices that they make due to lack of resources that were inhibited from them, that were kept from them, funding that were kept from these schools. Because it was designed, guys. It was designed to keep that societal pecking order going. Right? So, but I believe we can change that. I believe we can change that. I believe we can change that if we take more responsibility for our community, especially for our youth. Okay? Take fathers out of the home. I mean, that's a big bomb dropped on our community. You take fathers out of the home, right? Because they're out there making bad choices. They're out there losing their temper, losing their emotions, or, lack of control of emotions. And they end up incarcerated or doing drugs. I mean, for low-level drug offenses will land you doing some serious time, right? It's crazy. But this is a sad reality. I can go on and on about this, but I just want to drive into anybody watching right here, and a young person, young African American man who has his future ahead of him. And I say man because I believe he's responsible for taking care of his family. It shouldn't just be on the woman to become the man, and that's the problem we're having today. Pull your pants up. Quit smoking the weed like it's cool, right? You can't afford to do the things certain other communities can do and get away with it, right? You cannot afford to do these things, right? You need to be focused. Just look around. Look around your community and see if this is what you want for the next 10 years. Or are you going to be the one responsible for helping to build that community and raise it up again? And not just raise it up again, but be able to protect it. Be able to protect it. Or you want to be that guy behind me right there. And you think that's cool because you went to prison and you got street cred. Okay, how's street cred going to feed your family? How's street cred going to protect your family? How's that going to protect the woman in your life? Street cred? Okay. How's losing your temper? Okay. For them to lock you up and put you in jail, how's that going to protect your family and say that you're a man? A real man knows how to control his emotions, right? He knows how to unleash them in the proper setting. Okay. So anyway, guys, that's my lecture for tonight. And I want you guys to really think about it. I want you guys to really think about it here. Time is short, time flies, man. I'm telling you. Got work to do out here. I mean, the job that we have to do out here is it seems immense, but nobody's asking you to save the world, but I am asking you to do your part. I'm asking you to do your part. And that's all I'm asking. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you coming on here, checking it out, guys, in the replay. Appreciate you watching. Please hit that like and subscribe. Okay, let's get this channel to 20,000. Let's get this channel to 20,000. Okay. I appreciate all the subscribers. Anybody who empathizes with what I'm talking about, hit that like and subscribe. Don't hesitate. Go to calibrate.com. That's another way you can support the channel. Go grab some of the products we have on the channel some great home improvement products. We got toolkits, we got picture hanging tools, all that good stuff. Okay, subscribe to the email list. We provide some good home improvement tips and hacks. So sign up for the email list and get some great information every month. So once again, guys, thank you very much for watching. Paragirl Life Notes, Claudette McCoy. I appreciate you very much. And I'm going to see you guys in the next one.